What are you waiting for?
Well, knowing Aaron Rodgers, understanding what he loves to do, which is play the game of football on Sundays and Mondays and Thursdays and whenever day of the week that we have games on. What we know he does not care for is offseason. Like, he's not, why would he sign? He was all in when he first got acquired by the Jets. He was all in the first year. We were praising him about how he was there, he was present, he was with the guys, trying to make relationships and develop all these rapports and things. That's not really what he wants to do. He wants to live his life. He wants to be free-spirited and do whatever he wants to do in the offseason. So he's not in any rush. You said the date. April 21st is when off-season workout program starts for clubs who have returning head coaches. Like, he's not going to sign if it's up to him prior to that. And then if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you do give him that soft deadline because you know the draft is coming up. And if any one of these quarterbacks slip and they just happen to have an opportunity to grab one of them, then he's probably out of luck. I don't think he's going to sign before the draft.
Really?
I don't.
Because I would sign him and then draft a guy that I think can back him up.
But he's saying he doesn't think Aaron's going to give him the opportunity to do that.
I don't think he's going to give him that opportunity.
He's going to ignore their soft deadline.
No.
Yeah, because it's a soft deadline. If it exists, okay. Why is this not done yet? It's two reasons. I guess three. There are three possible reasons this would not be done. Okay. Reason one, don't want to work as much as I would have to if it's done right now, which is what you're talking about, the off-season activities. That's not good. Reason number two, I want to make it clear who's in charge if I join. You guys are waiting for me, a power thing. Reason number three is pure, unadulterated ego. I just like that I'm talked about every day. There is not a fourth. Is there a fourth? I thought about this all weekend. Because I was nervous. You know what I mean? I'm going for Diana Rossini's corner, Nick Wright, NFL Insider. I'm 2 for 2 on reporting things now. I told you guys with utter certainty we'd be on the air Monday and Aaron Rodgers wouldn't have reported yet. So I'm there nervous all weekend. Like, oh, is he going to prove me wrong? Of course not. What's another possible reason? Legitimate reason. There is not one.
Well, I don't think this is the case, but money.
No, but the reporting is the money's agreed. The money, the financial parameters have been agreed upon.
Money.
Right, yeah. Okay. So, again, the fourth would be, well, he doesn't know if he actually wants to play. We all think he wants to play. So, you guys
and if he doesn't know, that's a problem.
Okay, so I'm going to once again ask for the Pittsburgh Steelers to have some self-respect as an organization, take power back from the situation, and as an added bonus, maybe get a better player, and just give up a 5th-round pick for Kirk Cousins.
Okay. Let's talk about this. First off, I called that. Go watch my herd clip about Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers and about what Nick Wright was going to say. I made it obviously before this even aired, and easy money, as they say. Easy money. I don't understand why this has to continue to be the big talking points and the big story. I really don't understand. And the only reason why I'm even making another video about this is because I realized that I didn't really talk about my first clip for Aaron Rodgers. I was kind of like, why do we keep talking about this? And that was really what the clip ended up being about. Now they're really just asking the straight up question, why isn't this done yet? And they're just kind of making up answers. The reality is that Aaron's not excited to play in Pittsburgh. I mean, that's the reality. I mean, he's dragging his feet. He's not happy with how all of this unfolded. He's not doing it for a power play. He's not doing it because he wants to be talked about. He's doing it because he's kind of just like, man, this is a bummer. This is a bummer. I want to continue to play. I'm not, super excited about playing in Pittsburgh. I was with Green Bay, and I was with New York, and I was maybe going to be in Minnesota, and now I'm going to maybe be in Pittsburgh. Like, what does that look like? The Steelers? Like, it's just, his life and his career is not unfolding how he thought it was going to, or at least at this late stage of his career. And so, yeah, I believe that he's legitimately kind of just wrestling with all of this, hoping something else comes about. I think there's some ego involved, but not in the way that they're trying to inflate it into this master, like, oh, I am the man. I think he believes that he has the ability to do that. I think, like, I used this example before, but I think it's actually slightly, slightly altered a bit. Where I was kind of saying, like, where, you're on the back burner, right? For like dating, right? Like there's a girl or a guy that you really like or whatever, and you're kind of on the back burner. But I think it's really more something like Aaron is, he's maybe keeping some of these other teams on the back burner, but not because he's like, oh, I'm so hot and everything's so great. It's more of kind of like, there's just nothing. I just can't find anything that I like out there. And yeah, there's a couple of these other people interested in me. It's kind of the only people that like me are the ones that I don't like back or something, right? The only guys that like me or the only girls that like me are the ones that that I'm not attracted to. And like, that's kind of where Aaron is right now. Rather than being like, I'm so popular, everyone loves me, and I'm just going to keep, these other people in the back burner just in case. And I think like Aaron was kind of like holding out hope for like a Minnesota Vikings, and as Colin talked about, maybe the San Francisco 49ers, which, not necessarily going to get involved in that rumor train. But, I think he was maybe thinking, oh, maybe Matthew Stafford is going to go to New York because people were really high on that. And maybe then he would be able to go to Los Angeles. Like, I think he was thinking of all these other options. And then it kind of came down to New York and Pittsburgh. And he's just kind of like, I am not so thrilled about that. And then when Minnesota became a potential option, it was like, whoa, that actually sounds awesome. No, like, I want that. And then when that doesn't happen, it's like, now everything looks even worse than it initially did. Because maybe Pittsburgh actually wasn't so bad. But then when you see like what you could potentially have in Minnesota, now by comparison, you're just like, well, this looks even worse now. This is even worse than I thought. Especially because what I could have maybe had. And then there's maybe still that chance that I could still have that. And apparently, Dan Rossini has reported that there's still the chance that he could still go to Minnesota. So, there's still that potential. There's still that potential that maybe J.J. McCarthy isn't ready, or that the Minnesota Vikings, during their whole process of the offseason, they realize, actually, we want Aaron. There's that potential. So I don't think this is ego driven. I just don't. I really, really don't. And constantly trying to force that narrative of like, oh, he just wants to be talked about in this or that. Dude, you're the one that keeps talking about him. Like, you don't have to. I more have to than you have to. Because I'm out here trying to be like, let's talk about what they're talking about in sports today. Like, you could just be like, we don't have to talk about Aaron. Why? Nothing changed from the weekend. We don't have to open our show with him. Or, okay, we could talk about him, but sometimes we do a literal 4-minute clip leading into the commercial break or leading into the next hour. We don't have to open our show and have our first football segment being like a 15-minute segment about Aaron Rodgers. That's why I cut the bulk of this clip, because I don't want to listen to it. I don't care if you want to listen to it. Again, I always talk about this. This is not a replacement for the show, so go watch it. I don't want to. I skip the clips because I don't care. The only reason why I'm even talking about it now is because at the very least, I like to have the meta conversation about it. I like to have the conversation of, why are we talking about it? Rather than like, let's figure this out. What is Aaron up to? Because I don't actually care. I really, really don't. And one of the other reasons why I'm making the other video for, as well, is because like, I also want to figure out, like, I kind of also want confirmation. Like, you guys don't care too, right? And that's what I said in my herd clip, where I was just like, my kind of philosophy is like, I try to use my own interest as a guide to what you guys would be interested in, not because I think that I'm like the leader of interest, but because I'm like, if I like this, then I assume other people will like it as well, because I feel like, you know, I have, you know, broad interest in that regard. And if I don't like something or I find something annoying, I'm like, I assume other people will feel that way as well. And if not, then they let me know. You know, if other people are like, no, man, this is, you know, this is interesting, I want to know what Aaron Rodgers is up to. I'm like, all right, if you guys are interested, then let's talk about it. You know, I'll try to find what I find interesting in the topic. And which I've tried my best to do, because I'm obviously not going to just completely ignore the story. But like, this has been the story that they've been covering in the NFL, like probably more than anything, especially in the last couple of weeks. It was interesting when he was going to potentially go to the Minnesota Vikings, because that had real stakes. It was like, could Aaron Rodgers be the difference maker and make this Minnesota Vikings team, a team that was a 14-win team, a Super Bowl winner? Like, that's a real conversation that's fascinating, especially after drafting a rookie, having that rookie quarterback get injured, and then potentially, like, you know, is he ready? Is he not? Like, that's a fascinating conversation. The whole idea of, do you want a 41, 42-year-old veteran quarterback who was an all-time great, no longer that great, or do you want to have a first-year starter who was, you know, a high draft pick, right? Like, it's a fascinating conversation to have, and you know, I'm all for that, because it's a real conversation. All this other stuff is just, you know, it's just not. It's not. It doesn't feel real to me. It's just kind of nonsense. So to then also kind of have whole segments about, you know, kind of like, well, this is what Aaron does, he just loves to be talked about. Well, again, you're talking about him. You're the one that's talking about him. You have the power to make that not happen, unless the showrunners are like, we're talking about Aaron, and Nick's like, I don't want to talk about Aaron until we not have to, and they're like, bro, I'm a producer of the show, we're talking about it. Because obviously I know it's very collaborative with these guys, so sometimes they're forced to talk about things that they don't want to. Maybe it moves the ratings more than I grant. But I don't know. I just I don't get it. So I don't know. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Aaron Rodgers? I mean, tell me, what do you guys think, man? Why isn't this deal done yet? Are you on the edge of your seat? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here. I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. This really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.